All right, welcome back to the One Bar and Lepigus Show. I'm One Bar. Vikings coming off that tough loss. Be sure to check out our post game with me and the Lepigus talking about studs, turds the game, everything went down. But one of the big talkers obviously was the kicking issues for the Minnesota Vikings. Dan Bailey having a very, very rough go at it, missing a total of 4 kicks, 1 extra point, 3 field goals. So the big question is, do the Vikings proceed with Mr. Dan Bailey or do they move on? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about 3 options. I think the Vikings only have 3 options when it comes to kickers moving forward in the 2020 season. So let's break those down right away. First off is the current kicker on their practice squad, Tristan Viscano. Yes, Tristan. If that name does not sound familiar, it shouldn't. He's never actually had a kick in an actual game. He's bounced around Bengals, Cowboys. I think he's had a couple other tryouts, but he's currently on the Vikings practice squad right now. The good thing about him, what makes him so attractive, especially this season, is he is a kicker / punter. He can do both. So if somebody were to get down or go on the COVID list last second, he is a good guy to have on a pinch. So it makes complete sense why the Vikings would have a guy like that on their practice squad. Obviously, there's not a ton to know about this guy. He appears to have had has a very, very good leg. He went to Washington where he was 12 of 20 career there for field goals, extra points, 49 of 52. As a punter, he averaged an average of 40.6 yards a punt. Really only had a lot of action punting his junior year, but he can definitely punt in a pinch. So this guy, the way I see it, out of the 3 guys I'm going to talk about, he is probably the least likely. I think he is on the Vikings practice squad, specifically if the Vikings were in a tough scenario. He could punt, he could kick, but he kind of should be on a practice squad. That's where he should be. There is no reason to throw him out there when these other 2 guys make a little more sense. The second guy, Chase Mclaughlin. Yes, Chase Mclaughlin, very familiar name. Jaguars, we got to see him up close and personal last week after he had been hanging out on our practice squad for a while, but he was recently cut by the Jags. This one probably makes the most sense if they're going to make a change to me, because he's been with the Vikings almost this entire year. The Vikings clearly like him. They continue to protect him every week until the Jags did snipe him. He still is 24 years old, has had some action in the league, career 78.6 field goal percentage, 96.7 when it comes to extra points. Unfortunately, that extra point he missed was against the Vikings, so we got to see that up close and personal. But even the time when he was with the Colts, seemed to be very intrigued by this guy. So I'm all for changing things up from Dan Bailey to Chase Mclaughlin. Is just kind of perfect how the Jags let him go like a day ago. So this could just be the perfect scenario. Third and final option, and this is going to win no Vikings hearts over at all, and that's just to strictly stay with Dan Bailey. When you look at the free agents out there, there's not many free agent kickers out there that are worth bringing in. This year, it seems that a lot of teams do have that kicker on the practice squad when they normally wouldn't because of COVID. So it is extra thin at the kicking position. So it's not just like, hey, there's this guy laying around, or this guy's just waiting to kick, like there usually is for kickers. Usually kickers, there's a handful of guys that are very intriguing, but this year there isn't. Go look. There's nobody out there that just says, wow, I got to have this guy, or wow, he is worth taking over Dan Bailey. Dan Bailey had a very gross game. He's got, I believe, 6 missed field goals this year and a couple extra points. So that is my third option, is just to stick with Dan Bailey. They're this far into the season. Zimmer's comments after the game, you could tell he was definitely disappointed. You could definitely tell that he did not care about feelings. He said specifically feelings does not matter right now. So I think it's 50-50 whether Dan Bailey is back or not. But if he's not, I think they bring back Mclaughlin, bring him in, or go on the practice squad. So we will see what happens, but this will definitely be one to watch. Unfortunately, be one that we're continuing to talk about. As Vikings fans, we know that the last thing we love talking about is inconsistent kickers and what we're going to do to fix the kicking game when we have much, much bigger issues. So those are my 3 guys. Let me know, a guy down in the comment, who you would love to see kicking for the Vikings. Maybe they can bring Fuad Revez out of retirement. I used to love that guy.